Have you ever built something truly incredible? Like, I mean, you poured your absolute heart, your soul, your late nights and your weekends into a project.
Oh, yeah. We've all been there.
Right. Maybe it was a software product or, I don't know, a piece of art, a new service, an app, and you polish every single edge.
Mm-hmm.
You obsess over the user interface. You perfect every detail until your eyes literally bleed. And then, the big day arrives. You hit publish.
The launch day.
Exactly. You launch it into the void, waiting for the applause, the customers, the undeniable validation that your hard work meant something. And what do you actually hear?
Just absolute deafening silence.
Total silence. You check your analytics, 0 active users. You check again, like an hour later, still 0. Just crickets.
It is arguably one of the most soul-crushing experiences a creator or a founder can go through.
Oh, absolutely.
Because you build what you believe is a masterpiece, right? Like a genuine solution to a real problem, and the world simply does not care. I mean, they don't even know it exists.
They're just walking right past it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the hardest part is that immediate self-doubt. You instantly think, well, my product must be terrible, when in reality, the product isn't the problem at all.
Which is just incredibly heartbreaking. And so today we are doing a deep dive into exactly why that deafening silence happens, and infinitely more importantly, how to completely obliterate it.
Yes.
Because we've got our hands on this fascinating source document from mid-2026. It's a comprehensive dispatch, essentially a battle plan, written by an author named Paramendra Kumar Bhagat.
Right, and he outlines what he explicitly calls the Y Combinator playbook.
Yeah, the playbook for brute forcing your first 100 customers. So our mission today is to unpack the specific no excuses system, because according to this playbook, if you follow these steps, you are guaranteed to get traction.
Almost regardless of what your product actually is, which
Right.
is a wild claim.
It is. So where do we start?
Well, we really need to set the stage to understand why a playbook like this even exists in the first place, and, why it relies on aggressive terms like brute forcing.
Right, because that sounds pretty intense.
It does. But the context of this source material is vital. We're looking at the tech and startup ecosystem of mid-2026. The author refers to this specific era as the impending age of abundance.
The age of abundance,
Yeah.
which honestly sounds pretty nice.
It does.
It
Because over the last few years leading up to 2026, we've seen an absolute explosion of AI coding tools, highly advanced no-code builders, automated infrastructure.
Right, the tools are just everywhere now.
Exactly. So the barrier to entry for building a functional, even complex product has plummeted to basically 0. A teenager in their bedroom can spin up a fully functioning SaaS product in an afternoon.
Which, I mean, that sounds like a utopian dream, right? The complete democratization of creation. Like anyone with an idea can just build.
It is a phenomenal leap forward for creation, definitely. But, and this is the big, but it creates a catastrophic bottleneck in distribution.
Because everyone can build.
Yes, because everyone can build, everyone is building. The internet is completely flooded with decent, functional, good enough products.
It's just a sea of noise.
Exactly. So the core problem for a founder in 2026 is no longer about, whether you can figure out the database architecture or write the software.
Right, the AI does that for you. Mostly.
Yeah, the core problem is getting a single, highly distracted human being to stop scrolling, pay attention, and care about what you've made for more than 3 seconds. The noise out there is just deafening.
I think the best way to visualize this modern startup landscape is to imagine opening a restaurant, like a gourmet Michelin star quality restaurant.
Okay, I like where this is going.
Right. So the food is phenomenal, the ambiance is perfect, the wine pairing is immaculate, but for some completely inexplicable reason, you've decided to build this restaurant in the absolute dead center of a dense, unmapped, incredibly hostile jungle.
Oh, man.
That-
So nobody can find it.
Exactly. It simply does not matter if you have, the best truffle risotto in the entire world sitting on a warm plate. If you do not actively, aggressively take a machete and hack a physical path through the vines and the mud and the mosquitoes so that people can find your front door.
You are going to starve to death in an empty, beautiful dining room.
Exactly. You'll just fade away.
That restaurant analogy really gets to the heart of the issue, but I'd actually, I'd push it even further.
Oh, how so?
Because you aren't just hacking a path. You have to physically drag people from the city into the jungle to show them that the path even exists.
Wow. Okay, yeah.
The product is the food, sure, but the machete and the dragging, that is your distribution strategy.
Yeah.
And what this playbook offers is a very sharp, very heavy machete.
I love that.
But before we get into the tactical swings of that machete, we really have to address the underlying philosophy of the whole document, like the mindset shift required to even pick up the tool in the first place.
Right, because without the right psychological framing, these tactics are just going to feel like a grueling checklist that you'll abandon after a week.
Exactly. The secret ingredient in this playbook isn't a single magical growth hack. It isn't a silver bullet that you fire once and then just sit back to watch the money roll in.
As much as we all want that to be the case.
Right. But the entire system is built on consistent, relentless, multi-channel execution every single week without giving up. It is all about a compounding habit of exposure.
So that's where the brute force comes in.
Yes, the author uses the term brute force completely deliberately. It implies sweat, repetition, and a complete lack of glamour.
It's sweat equity. But, I have to push back here for a second, because if you're listening to this, you might be thinking what I'm thinking.
Which is?
There is this deeply ingrained romantic ideal in the tech world, and honestly in most creative fields, that the cream naturally rises to the top. Like, if a product is truly undeniably great, shouldn't it just sell itself?
Ah, yes, the classic build it and they will come.
Yeah. Isn't having to brute force your marketing a massive red flag that the market doesn't actually want what you're building?
That is the single most common pushback founders have. And honestly, it is a wildly dangerous trap.
Really? A trap?
Oh, absolutely. It stems entirely from survivorship bias. We all read the stories on tech blogs about the viral sensations that seemingly exploded overnight without a marketing budget.
Right, the unicorn.
Yeah, but what we don't see, what the media never reports on, are the thousands of equally brilliant, perhaps even superior products that died in total obscurity simply because the founder refused to market them.
Wow. That's a grim reality.
It is. In the sheer density of the modern internet, organic discovery is largely a myth, especially in your first 6 months.
So you're saying that relying on organic discovery is, what, basically negligence?
Pretty much.
But doesn't brute forcing imply we're trying to force people to buy garbage they don't need, like tricking them?
Not at all. And that's a crucial distinction. Brute forcing isn't about tricking people or pushing a broken product on an unwilling victim. It is purely about generating enough initial, top-of-the-funnel conversations to find the tiny fraction of people who desperately need your solution.
Ah, okay. So it's a numbers game.
Exactly. Think about it mathematically. If only 1 in 1,000 people has the exact problem your software solves, you need to initiate conversations with 100,000 people just to find your first 100 customers.
Right. Just to get those initial 100 people in the door.
Yeah, you cannot achieve product market fit if you have zero market interaction. You have to manufacture those collisions. You are brute forcing the discovery, not the sale.
Brute forcing the discovery, not the sale. Man, I really love that phrasing. You're just forcing the door open so they can smell the food. Once they sit down, well, the food still has to be good, but you have to get them to the table first.
Spot on.
Okay, so let's make this highly practical. Let's invent a hypothetical 2026 startup to carry through this conversation.
Sounds good. What are we building?
Let's say you and I just spent 3 months building an AI tool called Lumina, and Lumina's whole pitch is that it joins your chaotic Zoom meetings, listens to the mess, and automatically generates perfectly formatted Jira tickets and assigns them to the right engineers.
Okay, I would actually pay for that. That's a great tool. We love it.
Right. The Jungle restaurant is officially open. So where do we take our first swing of the machete, according to the playbook?
The playbook dictates that your first aggressive move attacks the illusion of the grand premiere. The source refers to this strategy as launch max.
Launch max, okay.
Because most founders, they treat their launch like a movie premiere. They launch once, they cross their fingers, and if it fails, they assume the product is completely doomed.
Right, the big red carpet event.
Yeah. But the playbook, leaning heavily on Y Combinator's historical advice, argues that a single launch is effectively a lottery ticket. Instead, you need to be launching a minimum of 3 times across multiple platforms simultaneously.
A lottery ticket. That is exactly what a single launch feels like. You buy your ticket, you watch the drawing, and when your numbers don't come up, you just throw it in the trash and go back to your day job.
Exactly. But Launch Max is a saturation strategy. The playbook explicitly lists the platforms you need to flood. Product Hunt, Hacker News, Dev Hunt, Beta List, Peer List, Indie Hackers.
That's a lot of platforms. But here's the thing. You can't just copy and paste the exact same corporate press release onto all of those sites, right? Like, they have different vibes.
Oh, if you try a copy-paste approach, you will be actively penalized by those communities. They hate that. This is where you have to understand the unique culture and algorithmic behavior of each specific platform.
Okay, so let's break that down. Start with Product Hunt.
Right. Product Hunt, for instance, is fundamentally driven by momentum and social proof. It's essentially a leaderboard for early adopters. The source highlights that successful launches there can drive over 1,000 signups in a single day.
Wow, 1,000 in a day.
Yeah, but to win Product Hunt, you do not just show up on a random Thursday and post your link.
What's the actual execution look like for our tool, Lumina, on Product Hunt then?
For Lumina, you need to start weeks in advance. You need to secure what the community calls a hunter, someone with an established reputation and a large following on the platform who will officially submit your product for you.
Ah, so you need a champion.
Exactly. You time the launch for a high-traffic day, typically a Tuesday or Wednesday. And crucially, from the second the post goes live at midnight, you and your co-founder are awake, aggressively and thoughtfully engaging with every single person who leaves a comment.
So you're basically artificially pumping the engagement.
Well, you are feeding the algorithm engagement, so it keeps you pinned near the top of the daily leaderboard. It's a momentum game.
Okay, so Product Hunt is highly orchestrated. But let's say the next day we take Lumina over to Hacker News. That is a completely different universe, isn't it?
Radically different. Hacker News is populated by highly technical, deeply cynical, and incredibly intelligent engineers.
Yeah, they do not mess around.
No, they don't. If you go into Hacker News with the polished, marketing speak, emoji-filled momentum tactics of Product Hunt, you will be torn apart. They can smell marketing a mile away, and they absolutely despise it.
I can just imagine posting, like, Lumina is the ultimate synergy tool for your workflows on Hacker News and just getting absolutely roasted in the comments.
Oh, you would be downvoted into oblivion in minutes. It would be brutal.
So what actually works there?
What works on Hacker News is raw authenticity and technical vulnerability. The source specifically highlights the show HN format. For Lumina, your post wouldn't be a pitch.
What would it be?
It would be titled something like Show HN. We built an AI to turn chaotic meetings into Jira tickets. Here is why the audio processing almost broke our back end.
Oh, that's so smart. You lead with the pain.
Yes. You share the technical hurdles, the raw database constraints, the failures along the way. If you engage genuinely in those comments, acknowledging flaws and taking architectural feedback from the community, they will respect you.
That makes total sense. Engineers want to talk about engineering.
Exactly. The source notes that multiple founders have secured their vital first wave of highly engaged customers through honest technical breakdowns on Hacker News.
This whole concept of the iterative launch really stands out to me. The source mentions launching version 0.2, then 1.0, then 2.0. But if you're listening to this, you might be wondering about user fatigue.
How so?
Like, if I see Lumina launch on Product Hunt, and then a month later they launch again, don't I just roll my eyes and think, I've already seen this, stop spamming my feed?
You would if the product was identical. But the strategy relies entirely on shipping meaningful improvements. Between V0.2 and V1.0, you've added new features, you've redesigned the interface based on the initial feedback.
Right, you've actually done the work.
Yeah, and maybe you now have real case studies from early users. Relaunching accomplishes two incredibly powerful things. First, it signals momentum.
Momentum again?
Always momentum. It tells the market, we didn't just build a toy and abandon it. We are live, we are listening to feedback, and we are moving incredibly fast.
Which is huge. People want to bet on a winning horse. Like, if they see you running fast, they want to jump on.
Exactly. And the second benefit is structural. Every time you launch on these platforms, you are capturing fresh eyes, people who are busy or traveling during your first launch. But more importantly, from an infrastructural standpoint, you're creating overlapping waves of visibility and generating vital, high-quality backlinks to your domain.
Let's pause right there. For anyone who isn't, deep into the weeds of SEO, let's do a quick ELI 5 explain. Like, I'm 5 on backlinks.
Sure.
Why do we care so much about them? What is a backlink actually doing to the algorithm?
Think of the Google search algorithm as a massive popularity contest. But it's a contest where votes from important people count more.
Okay, and following.
A backlink is simply another website placing a link on their page that points to your website. Google's algorithm crawls the internet, sees that link, and treats it as a vote of confidence.
So a link is a vote.
Right. But if a random unknown blog links to you, Google barely notices. It's a tiny vote. If a massive, highly authoritative site like Hacker News or Product Hunt links to you, Google says, wow, this huge authority trusts Lumina. Lumina must be important.
Ah, so it passes the authority onto you.
Exactly. Your website's domain authority increases, which means the next time someone Googles AI Jira ticket generator, Google is much more likely to put Lumina on the first page of the search results.
So LaunchMax isn't just about the eyeballs on launch day. It's about permanently leveling up your website's baseline authority on the internet.
That's exactly it. It's a long-term play disguised as a short-term sprint.
It reminds me of a band going on a massive multi-city tour. If the crowd in Chicago, let's say that's Product Hunt, doesn't quite vibe with the set list, you don't just break up the band.
No, you definitely don't.
Right. You tweak the music, change the lighting, and you play for a completely different crowd in Seattle. That's Hacker News. The very next night.
The band analogy is a great starting point, but it's actually a bit more chaotic than that.
More chaotic.
Yeah, it's like playing a show while the audience is actively throwing tomatoes at you. And you have to dodge the tomatoes, pick them up, and use them to make a better pasta sauce for the next city.
Oh man, I love that.
You are actively taking the friction and the criticism from one launch, iterating the product, and bringing a harder, better version to the next platform.
Okay, so launching gets your name out there. You're banging the drum in the jungle. But launching mostly captures the attention of early adopters who are just, browsing for cool new things.
True, the passive scrollers.
Right. But what about the potential customers who actually have a bleeding neck problem right now? The engineering managers who are actively, desperately searching Google today for a way to stop their meetings from being a waste of time.
Yes, the high-intent buyers.
Exactly. Because we are brand new, they are currently finding our established competitors instead of us. How do we fix that?
Now we shift from passive discovery to intercepting active intent. The author refers to this as competitor backlink hijacking. Though, honestly, I prefer to frame it as value-driven SEO judo.
Value-driven SEO judo. Okay, I want to walk through the exact mechanics of this. How do we, as the scrappy founders of Lumina, hijack a massive competitor's traffic?
Okay, let's play it out. Let's say our biggest competitor is an established, kind of a clunky enterprise tool called ScheduleBot. What is our first move?
Yeah, what do we do?
It starts with competitive data analysis. You use software tools, the source mentions platforms like Ahrefs, SEMrush, or even free open source alternatives, to basically X-ray ScheduleBot's web presence.
Okay, so we're looking at their site.
Well, no, you aren't looking at their homepage or their marketing copy. You're looking at their backlink profile. You want the software to generate a list of every single website on the entire internet that is actively linking to ScheduleBot.
Oh, I see. We are finding all the roads that lead to their castle.
Exactly. We want to find the toll booths on those roads.
Yeah.
We're looking for software directories, industry review sites, roundups, and those ubiquitous listicles like, top 10 productivity tools for engineering teams in 2026.
Right, the articles that already rank on page 1 of Google.
Yes. Once you find a high-traffic article where ScheduleBot is heavily featured, your job is to create a dramatically superior version of whatever it is they're offering.
Wait, so we don't just email the writer and say, hey, add Lumina to the list?
No. If you do that, they'll just ignore you. We have to build something better first.
What does that look like in practice?
Let's say the blog post is a giant comparison chart of meeting tools. You sit down and design a vastly superior, highly interactive infographic. You compile more updated API data. You write a deeper, more nuanced case study about workflow integrations. Or maybe you create a free, downloadable template that pairs perfectly with their article.
Okay, so you're doing a bunch of upfront work.
Yes, you build an undeniably better resource for their specific audience.
Mm-hmm.
Then, and only then, do you reach out to the owner of that website.
Let's script that email right now, because if you are listening to this, you might be feeling a bit of hesitation. Like, it feels kind of aggressive.
A lot of founders feel that way at first.
Right? Isn't it incredibly rude to cold email a total stranger, a blog owner, and basically say, hey, drop that other guy and promote my startup instead? Why on earth would a site owner agree to do that administrative work just to help us out?
That hesitation is exactly why the word value-driven has to precede the judo. You have to deeply understand the psychology and the financial incentives of the person you are emailing. Like, why does a content manager run a top 10 list on their blog in the first place?
To rank on Google, get page views, and probably sell ads or affiliate links.
Precisely. Their currency is relevance, accuracy, and providing immediate value to their readers so their own SEO rankings stay high.
Oh,
If
Okay.
their article is 3 years old and links to ScheduleBot, a tool that has become notoriously buggy or overpriced, that actively hurts the blog owner's reputation and bounce rate.
Right. Google will penalize them if people leave the site quickly.
Exactly. By doing the heavy lifting, by bringing them a beautifully designed, fresh, updated resource, you're actually doing their job for them for free.
Ah, I see the angle now. You aren't asking for a favor, you're offering a free property upgrade.
Yeah.
So what does that email actually say?
It needs to be incredibly brief and entirely focused on their benefit. Something like, "Hi Sarah, I was researching engineering workflows and loved your piece on the top 10 meeting tools. I noticed you featured ScheduleBot. Since they recently raised their pricing and dropped their Jira integration, I thought your readers might appreciate a modern alternative."
Oh, that's smooth. You're pointing out a flaw in their current post.
Exactly. Then you say, "We built Lumina specifically to handle the Jira automation ScheduleBot dropped. I also put together a high-res comparison matrix graphic of all 10 tools on your list, which you are completely free to use in the article to refresh it. Let me know if you want the file."
That is brilliant. You aren't demanding they delete the competitor. You are offering them a high-value asset, the comparison matrix. And oh, by the way, Lumina happens to look pretty great on that
Hey, but
matrix.
value exchange, not spam.
Yeah.
You are using the competitor's existing SEO momentum, using their weight against them, to flip the traffic toward you. That's the judo.
And does this only work for blogs?
No, it works across mediums too. The source provides illustrative examples beyond just blogs. It suggests finding the exact industry podcasts where your competitor's CEO was interviewed last year and pitching yourself to the host with a fresh contrarian take on that exact same topic.
Oh, wow.
Or if you have a hardware product, finding the YouTube reviewers who covered the older, inferior products in your niche and shipping them your new, sleek hardware for free. You are constantly identifying where the attention already flows and placing a better mousetrap right in the stream.
Okay, let's take stock of where we are. We've launched iteratively across multiple communities, so the browsers and early adopters see us.
Okay.
We've hijacked the active search intent, so the buyers looking for solutions see us. But what about the massive pool of people who exist in the gray area?
Ah, the lurkers.
Yeah, the people who see your posts on LinkedIn, maybe they smile, maybe they hit the like button, but they never actually take the initiative to click your link or send you a message.
This brings us to a massive, often fatal flaw in the popular build in public movement. Founders love posting updates, getting hundreds of likes, and feeling a dopamine rush.
Because it feels like you're making progress.
It feels great, but the source material states a harsh, empirical truth about 2026. 99% of the leads who see your content, who actively engage with it, will never organically come inbound. They are a silent majority.
They'll stand outside the restaurant, they'll like the pictures of the food on Instagram, they might even wave through the window.
But they will absolutely not walk through the door and ask for a table unless you physically walk outside and guide them in.
That is the perfect way to frame it. They are passive observers who need a catalyst. So the playbook introduces warm outbound. The strategy here is to proactively bridge that gap between passive engagement and active conversation.
And the directive is pretty strict. The playbook says that every single week, you must scrape the data of everyone who likes, comments on, or engages with your LinkedIn posts or your X threads.
Wait. I need to pause on the word scrape. For a lot of non-technical listeners, scraping data sounds vaguely illegal.
I know it sounds a bit shady.
Yeah, like we are hacking into LinkedIn servers wearing a black hoodie. Can we do an ELI 5 on what scraping actually means in this context?
Absolutely. Scraping is just automated reading. That's all it is. When you go to a public LinkedIn post, you can click on the likes and manually read the names, the job titles, and the companies of everyone who liked it.
Right, that's public info.
Exactly. Scraping simply uses software to read that exact same public information, but it does it in 2 seconds instead of 2 hours. And it exports that list into a neat spreadsheet. It's just automating the public data aggregation.
Okay, that makes it sound much less nefarious, but still, doing that manually, even with a spreadsheet, sounds intensely tedious.
Oh, it would have been a massive time sink a few years ago. But remember, this playbook is operating in the highly automated landscape of mid-2026.
Ah, right, the AI tools.
Yes. The author specifically names AI infrastructure tools like Origami Chat or Apollo that are used to completely automate this entire pipeline from end to end.
Walk me through the mechanics of that automation. What does the AI actually do for our startup, Lumina?
The author actually drops their exact prompt structure in the source text, which is super helpful. It goes like this. You connect the AI tool to your social feeds. The AI automatically monitors your account 24/7,
Okay, so it's always watching.
always. When an engineering manager likes your post about messy Zoom meetings, the AI instantly scrapes their public profile. But it doesn't just blindly message everyone.
Oh, so there's a
A
filter.
huge filter. It cross-references their job title, company size, and industry
Yeah.
against your ideal customer profile, your ICP. If it determines they are a match, the AI automatically drafts a highly personalized message and sequences them into an outreach campaign via LinkedIn direct message and email.
That is insane.
And the playbook suggests targeting the top 20 engagers daily with this method.
That is mind-blowing. The machine is watching the crowd, spotting the people who nod at your ideas, checking their credentials to make sure they can afford the product, and handing them a highly customized business card while you are literally fast asleep.
Yep, that's the reality of 2026 tech.
But here's my question. Why go through this specific, highly targeted effort? Why not just buy a massive list of 50,000 random engineering managers and blast them with cold emails? It seems faster.
Because the mathematical conversion rates speak for themselves. The difference between cold outreach and warm outbound is staggering.
How different are we talking?
Night and day. When you buy a random list and cold email someone, their psychological reflex is immediate rejection. Stranger danger. This is spam. Delete. It's an uninvited intrusion into their inbox.
Right, everyone hates cold emails.
Exactly. But the warm outbound tactic relies entirely on contextual rapport.
Contextual rapport, how does that change the dynamic of the conversation?
Think about the opening line of the AI-drafted message. When you message someone, and the very first sentence is, "Hi, Sarah, I saw you liked my post on the chaos of remote engineering meetings yesterday," you immediately neutralize the stranger danger reflex.
Oh, I see, because there's a connection.
They recognize you, or at least the topic. They have already publicly agreed with the thought you put into the world. You aren't a cold caller knocking on their door. You are a familiar face following up on a shared digital interaction.
That's a huge shift in positioning.
It is. The source states that warm leads have a 5 to 10x higher response rate precisely because of this psychological safety.
It's exactly like making eye contact at a large networking event.
Oh, that's a good analogy.
Like, if you are on stage giving a presentation about Lumina, and you see someone in the second row nodding along enthusiastically to everything you say, they're basically giving you a physical like. If you finish your talk, step off that stage, go to the bar, and you don't walk over to introduce yourself to that specific person who is nodding, the connection just dies on the vine. You have to walk over.
Yes.
Warm outbound is just the digital equivalent of walking over to the person who is nodding and saying hello.
That analogy holds up perfectly. You are initiating a conversation that they are already psychologically primed to have. But the author notes a crucial execution detail here.
What's that?
You do not follow up that warm intro with a hard sell. You do not say, "You liked my post. Buy Lumina for $99."
Oh, right, because that ruins the goodwill instantly. So what do you say instead?
You follow up with genuine value. You say, "Since you resonated with that post, I actually put together a free audit checklist for engineering meeting bloat. Would you want me to send it over?"
You offer a gift.
You reward their engagement with utility. You're starting a relationship, not closing a transaction.
Okay, so we've mastered text-based outreach. We are iterating our launches, we are judo flipping SEO traffic, and we have an automated AI machine DMing everyone who likes our posts.
Sounds pretty comprehensive, right?
It does. But the source material makes a very aggressive argument that in 2026, relying purely on text is a losing battle.
It does.
To truly capture the masses, the playbook demands a pivot to visual dominance.
The source splits this into two distinct tactics, but they are intrinsically linked. The first is deploying micro-armies of user-generated content, or UGC, creators. The second is a mandate for the founder to transition to video-first building.
Let's tackle the micro-armies first, because the phrase hiring an army sounds incredibly intimidating, and more importantly, incredibly expensive.
Oh, for sure.
If you are a bootstrapped founder listening to this, how do you hire an army? Influencers charge like $5,000 for a single Instagram post.
That's where you have to understand the specific economics of the 2026 UGC strategy. You are not hiring mega influencers. You aren't looking for celebrities.
Okay, so who are we looking for?
You are looking for volume. The playbook advises going onto specialized platforms. It mentions one called SideShift and hiring 20 to 30 micro creators in your specific niche on TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts.
20 to 30 people.
Yeah. And crucially, you want them posting from entirely fresh, unbranded accounts, not from the official Lumina corporate account.
Wait, why fresh accounts? Doesn't that mean they have literally zero followers?
Exactly, because the modern short-form video algorithms do not care about follower counts. They care about engagement graphs. It feels infinitely more authentic and organic when a seemingly random, faceless account discovers a cool new hack for Jira than when the Lumina brand account shouts about its own features.
Well, that makes sense. People trust peers, not brands.
Right. But to address your budget question, the economics here are fascinating. You are paying an incredibly low flat base fee. The source quotes $15 to $30 per video.
$15 a video. Let's pause and talk about the socioeconomics of that for a second.
It sounds absurd, doesn't it?
It really does. Why on earth would a human being agree to script, film, and edit a tech video for the price of a fast food lunch?
Because the flat fee is merely a filter. The real money and the psychological driver for the creator is in the performance bonus. The contract structure is what makes this work.
How is the contract structured?
The deal might say $20 base fee to cover your time, plus a $1,000 cash bonus if the video hits 1 million views.
Oh, wow.
Right.
You are taking your startup's growth goals and perfectly aligning them with the creator's financial incentives.
Perfectly aligned. Why pay a $2,000 flat fee to an influencer who will post it and forget it?
Yeah.
A low base fee weeds out the lazy creators who just want a quick buck for a low-effort screen recording.
So it self-selects for ambition.
Exactly. The creators who accept a $20 base plus a massive performance bonus are hungry. They believe in their ability to manipulate the algorithm. They will obsess over the first 3 seconds of the hook. They will tighten the editing, and they will perfect the pacing because they want that $1,000 payout just as desperately as you want the million views.
It's commission-only marketing, but instead of commissions on sales, it's commissions on human attention. That's wild. So what actually happens to the market perception when you have 30 hungry creators all pumping out highly optimized videos about Lumina in the exact same week?
You manufacture a powerful, highly effective illusion of widespread cultural buzz. If an engineering manager is scrolling TikTok on their lunch break and they see 3 different, seemingly unconnected people talking about this new Lumina app in a span of 48 hours.
Their brain just makes an assumption?
Yes, it relies on a heuristic. It assumes, wow, this tool is everywhere. Everyone in my industry must be using this. I am falling behind if I don't check it out.
You are hacking the herd mentality.
You are. Short-form video drives massive targeted reach at an incredibly low cost compared to buying traditional Facebook or Google ads. And because it comes from individual creators, the audience's skepticism is significantly lower.
Which ties perfectly into the second visual mandate. The founder stepping in front of the camera. Video first building. The source explicitly says to stop posting static images, stop posting long text threads, and completely transition to video when you are building in public.
Right. Instead of tweeting a text update saying, we just shipped a new feature that connects Lumina to Slack, saving you 10 minutes a day.
Which is boring.
Very boring. Instead, you post a rapid-fire 45-second screen recording. You show the exact pain point, a messy, disorganized Slack thread, and then you show Lumina instantly organizing it in real time. The playbook says you must spam useful, actionable use cases across X and LinkedIn.
Spamming useful use cases. You know, as I read that in the source, I realized this is just the digital evolution of the classic late-night infomercial.
Oh, that's an interesting take.
Think about how a really good infomercial works. They don't just stand on a soundstage and verbally promise you that a knife is sharp. That requires trust, and trust is hard to earn.
Right, they always show it in action.
Exactly. They show the knife effortlessly slicing through a solid tin can and then immediately slicing a paper-thin, perfect piece of a ripe tomato without squishing it. You don't have to trust them. Your own eyes prove the unbelievable utility.
I love that.
Fixing a complex software pain point in 45 seconds on a LinkedIn video is just the modern infomercial.
The psychology is identical. It bypasses the logical, skeptical brain and builds an instant visceral connection. It demonstrates value far more effectively than reading 10 bullet points on a landing page.
It's show, don't tell.
Exactly. But beyond the psychology, if we connect this to the overarching reality of how the internet works in 2026, we have to talk about structural algorithm biases.
Right, because the machines ultimately decide what humans are allowed to see.
Unfortunately, yes. Social media algorithms on X, LinkedIn, and everywhere else inherently favor native video. Why? Because the platform's only goal is to keep users on their site for as long as possible.
Watch time is king.
Video generates higher watch time and more shareability. If you post a brilliant, insightful text update, the algorithm might show it to 5% of your existing followers.
Right, the organic reach is terrible for text.
But if you post a highly engaging, fast-paced video that people actually watch to the end, the algorithm recognizes that the content is retaining attention. It will actively push your video into the feeds of tens of thousands of people who do not follow you.
So you're playing their game.
You are giving the platform exactly what it wants, watch time, so the platform rewards you with exactly what you want reach.
Okay, let's take a deep breath and look at the arsenal we've built for Lumina so far.
It's a big arsenal.
It really is. We are launch maxing iteratively. We are judo flipping competitor backlinks. We have an AI scraping and messaging warm leads. We are paying a mercenary army of TikTokers to manufacture buzz, and we are blanketing LinkedIn with 45-second infomercials.
A brute force is in full effect.
It feels like we are dropping leaflets over the entire digital ocean, but, sending all this content out blindly into the general public still feels somewhat inefficient. It's a shotgun blast. Don't we need a sniper rifle?
Which brings us perfectly to the next tactic: hyper-targeted habitats.
Hyper-targeted habitats. I like the sound of that.
The playbook dictates that brute force isn't just about volume, it's about location. You must aggressively map the exact digital habitats of your ideal customer profile. You don't want to scream in the town square. You want to whisper in the specific rooms where they already congregate.
You have to meet them where they already live.
Exactly. The source lists specific examples of these habitats: niche, invite-only Slack channels, private Discord groups, highly specific industry newsletters, and hyper-focused low-listener podcasts.
Let's contrast this to really highlight the value. What is the fundamental difference between this hyper-targeted habitat strategy and traditional broad-reach marketing? Like, say, buying a massive billboard on a busy highway in Silicon Valley.
Okay, let's look at the numbers. A physical billboard on Highway 101 might be seen by 50,000 commuters a day.
Lots of eyeballs.
Sure. But how many of those 50,000 random drivers are engineering managers actively looking for an AI meeting transcription tool? Maybe 5. You are paying a massive, exorbitant premium to reach 49,995 people who fundamentally do not care about your existence.
It's wildly inefficient. You are paying for a massive amount of waste.
Now contrast that highway billboard with infiltrating a private, vetted Slack community called Engineering Leaders Network that has exactly 500 members.
Oh, the density there is completely different.
Every single person in that digital room is your exact, perfect target demographic. A single well-placed shout-out in that room of 500 is infinitely more valuable and will convert at a massively higher rate than the billboard seen by 50,000.
Because the density of the target is 100%. But there's more to it than just density, right? There is a psychological mechanic at play when you are inside a private community.
Yes, the source touches on the vital concept of trust transfer.
Trust transfer.
When you buy a billboard or a Facebook ad, you are starting with zero trust. The audience knows you paid to interrupt them.
Right. Their guard is up.
But let's say you manage to sponsor a highly respected niche podcast about engineering workflows. Or you get the administrator of that private Slack group to officially recommend Lumina in the general channel.
Then what happens?
The audience in that community already deeply trusts the host or the admin. They spent years listening to them, vetting their advice. When that trusted figure says, "Hey, I've been playing with this new tool Lumina and it's actually incredible," the audience subconsciously transfers their trust from the host directly onto your unknown startup.
Yeah.
You bypass the grueling skepticism phase entirely.
You are basically renting their hard-earned reputation.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. And the playbook suggests very practical, tactical ways to execute this. It's not always just wiring them money for a banner ad.
No, not at all.
It's running an exclusive giveaway in the Discord server. It's partnering with the newsletter writer for a dedicated, long-form deep dive. But wait. If you are listening to this right now and you are a bootstrapper...
You're broke.
Exactly. You have zero marketing budget. Your startup bank account has literally $12 in it. How on earth do you pay for these shout-outs in these premium gated communities?
It's a vital question. And the playbook has an answer. The source specifically advises offering free access or affiliate deals. When cash is tight, you have to realize that your product itself has value. You use your product as currency.
Ah, so we revert to a barter economy.
You barter. Let's look at Lumina again. You DM the administrator of that engineering Slack group, and you say, "I love the community you've built. We just launched Lumina. If you feature us in your weekly roundup, I will generate a unique code that gives your entire community 6 months of our premium enterprise tier for absolutely free.
That's a huge value add for the admin.
Exactly. The admin looks like a hero for bringing a massive exclusive perk to their members, and you get immediate hyper-targeted distribution and hundreds of high-quality beta testers.
What about for newsletters?
For a newsletter, you offer the writer a 30% lifetime recurring affiliate cut of anyone who signs up from their specific link.
The affiliate route is incredibly smart because you only pay when you actually acquire a paying customer.
Right, there's no risk.
It aligns everyone's financial incentives without requiring a single dollar of upfront cash from the founder.
Exactly. You are leveraging future revenue to acquire present distribution.
Okay, so we've successfully infiltrated the hidden private communities. We are in the VIP rooms. But what about the massive, chaotic, incredibly public conversations happening in real time, the cultural zeitgeist? How do you hijack that momentum?
That brings us to the final aggressive tactic: trend jacking on X or Twitter, the art of surfing the algorithm.
Let's get deeply into this because trend jacking sounds like the kind of high wire act that can either make you go massively viral and secure funding or get you mercilessly canceled by the internet.
Oh, it goes wrong all the time.
Right. So what is the core strategy here?
The underlying premise is that every single week on X, there is a fresh viral trend, a new meme format, a controversial debate, or a hot topic dominating the timeline in your specific industry.
There's always a main character of the day.
Yes. The tactic is to monitor these shifts rapidly and figure out how to naturally, seamlessly fold your product or your unique insight into that massive, ongoing conversation.
But how are founders actually executing this in 2026? Are they just sitting on the toilet scrolling X for 4 hours a day, hoping to spot a trend?
No, remember, brute force requires ruthless efficiency.
Right, the AI.
The source discusses using AI tools, again mentioning origami specifically, to search for structural queries. You don't just look at the trending tab. Use the AI to search for things like engineering management posts with over 1,000 likes in the last 48 hours.
Ah, so it's filtering for relevance and velocity.
You use the machine to find the specific waves forming in your niche. Once you identify the wave, your job is to reply, to quote tweet, and to actively mimic the formatting, the specific sentence structures, the controversial hooks, the formatting styles that are currently being aggressively rewarded by the algorithm.
It really is the perfect surfing analogy. Like if you grab a board, paddle out into the middle of a totally flat ocean and just splash around wildly, you're not going anywhere. You will just exhaust yourself. Right. You cannot create the wave yourself. The ocean, the algorithm, and human attention creates the wave. But if you watch the horizon carefully, paddle fast enough, and position your board perfectly right as the swell rises, you can ride the sheer, terrifying momentum of the ocean for free. You are harnessing kinetic energy that is vastly larger than your own.
That is exactly what trend jacking is. But we have to emphasize a massive, absolutely crucial warning that the author puts in the source text. He explicitly says, do it ethically, add real insight.
Let's define ethically here, because it's not really about morality, it's about platform etiquette, right? Nobody likes a reply guy who just spams links.
Exactly. Ethical in this context means value additive. Let's walk through a concrete example with Lumina to show the difference. Let's say a major, highly respected industry figure posts a viral, controversial thread about how remote work is dead because communication has broken down.
The wave is forming.
The wave is huge.
Yeah.
Now, what does the spam version of trend jacking look like? The spam version is you replying to that thread with a naked link saying, communication isn't broken, buy our tool Lumina for $99 a month.
Ugh, yeah. That is going to fail spectacularly.
You will be blocked by the author, hidden by the algorithm, and ignored by the audience. You fall off the surfboard and get crushed by the wave. Effective trend jacking requires adding genuine, standalone value to the ongoing conversation.
So what is the value additive reply?
The value reply is thoughtful and data-driven. You reply, we actually analyzed 10,000 hours of remote engineering meetings last month. You're right that communication is breaking, but productivity isn't. The real issue is that action items are lost in unstructured transcripts. Here's a chart showing exactly which minute of a meeting the communication breaks down.
Oh, that's actually really interesting content on its own.
Exactly. You provide a fascinating insight that extends the original creator's premise, and then at the very bottom of that thoughtful reply, you softly add, this exact dynamic is why we built Lumina to automate JIRA ticket creation from the chaos.
The value Absolutely must precede the pitch. You earn the right to mention your product by making the original conversation more interesting.
Precisely. If you make the original poster look smart and you give the audience something interesting to think about, they will naturally click on your profile to see who you are and what Lumina is.
Okay, let's zoom out and look at the sheer scale of what we've discussed today.
It's a lot.
We have covered the 7 tactical swings of the machete. We are launch maxing across half a dozen platforms and iterating versions. We are executing SEO judo to flip competitor backlinks. We are deploying automated AI workflows to turn passive likers into warm outbound DM leads. We are paying a mercenary army of micro creators on TikTok to manufacture cultural buzz. We are blanketing LinkedIn with 35-second infomercial demos. We are infiltrating targeted Slack communities with irresistible affiliate barter deals. And we are surfing the viral trends on X with high-value insights.
You're out of breath just listing them.
I am. So we have executed all of this relentlessly every single week for months. The brute force works. You hit your goal. You look at your Stripe dashboard, and there it is, 100 paying human beings.
A magic number.
Does the hustle finally stop? Can we finally put the machete down and take a nap?
You could take a very brief nap, maybe an afternoon. But then the game fundamentally radically changes. This brings us to the final section of the playbook, the great pivot. The massive shift in priority from acquisition to retention.
The great pivot. What exactly happens to the founder's psychology and daily schedule when you hit that magical 100 customer milestone?
Once you have 50 to 100 active paying customers, the obsession must shift almost entirely away from screaming for attention in the jungle. It must move entirely toward onboarding, white-glove customer support, building tight feedback loops, and identifying upsell opportunities.
So you switch from marketing to product.
Yes. The source material is very clear on this reality check. Brute force acquisition does not excuse a bad product in the long run.
This is where the rubber meets the road. Because you can trick someone into trying a bad restaurant once, but you can't trick them into coming back every week.
Exactly. Critics of this kind of aggressive marketing playbook often say, well, you still need a viable, excellent product. Otherwise, they will all just churn, cancel their subscriptions, and demand refunds.
Which is a fair critique.
It is. And the author of the playbook completely agrees with that critique. But here's the profound, counterintuitive insight of the whole strategy. The brute force marketing merely buys the founder 2 vital assets.
What are those assets?
It buys them the data, and it buys them the financial runway to refine the product until it actually is excellent.
Let me play devil's advocate for the listener who is still skeptical about this. If I hustle my heart out, I get 100 engineering managers to pay for Lumina, but the audio processing is still a bit buggy, the UI is clunky, and half of those managers cancel in the first month. Did I just waste my time?
You think you burned your reputation, right?
Yeah. Didn't I just burn my reputation with my exact target market?
No, absolutely not. That is the fear that paralyzes founders into never launching. You have to realize that without those initial 100 frustrated, complaining users, you would have absolutely no idea which bugs were actually deal breakers.
Oh, that's so true.
You wouldn't know which features the market actually values enough to pay for versus the features you just thought were cool. You would be guessing in a vacuum. Distribution and aggressive early acquisition are the very engines that drive you toward true product-market fit. You need the friction of real, paying users to polish the stone.
Wow. So the marketing is actually just a highly aggressive research and development strategy in disguise.
Yes.
You are relentlessly acquiring the beta testers who actually pay you to tell you what is fundamentally wrong with your application.
That is exactly what early-stage marketing is. It's paid discovery. Once you have them in the building, your job is to talk to them constantly, fix their specific problems instantly, and build the features they are begging for. You plug the holes in the bucket before you go back out to pour more water in.
Okay, this has been an absolute masterclass. But if you are listening to this right now, we have to acknowledge that it is a monumental amount of information. We've thrown a lot at you. 7 massive tactics, AI automation workflows, hiring UGC armies, SEO tools. How do we bring this down to a practical, actionable level for the listener today so they don't just freeze up from analysis paralysis?
The author anticipates this exact feeling of overwhelm and gives very specific advice. Do not, under any circumstances, try to implement all 7 steps tomorrow morning.
That would be a disaster.
If you try to do it all at once, you will spread yourself too thin, execute everything poorly, and burn out in a week. We must reiterate the core meta principle: consistency over intensity. The practical advice is to look at this menu of tactics and pick just 2 or 3 that naturally align with your current skills and resources.
I love that. Give yourself permission to ignore the rest for now. If you are terrified of the camera and hate video editing, don't start with the 45-second infomercials. Start with the warm, outbound AI sequences and the backlink hijacking because those are highly analytical and text-based.
Exactly. Play to your strengths to build initial momentum. Pick 2 tactics. Execute them relentlessly this week. At the end of the week, measure the actual results. Did you get clicks? Did you get replies? Did anyone sign up? Learn from that data, tweak your messaging, and iterate next week. The game is highly winnable with sheer persistence, but you have to actually start swinging the machete.
To summarize the ultimate takeaway of this entire 2026 playbook, in this impending age of abundance where AI can code a complex application in a single afternoon, building the product is only 10% of the battle. Distribution, sheer unadulterated hustle, and the unapologetic willingness to put yourself and your product in front of people over and over and over again is the true defining mark of a surviving founder. It is no longer about who builds the quietest, most elegant back-end code. It is entirely about who builds the loudest, most persistent distribution engine.
I agree completely. But if I may, I want to leave the listener with a lingering, somewhat philosophical question.
Please do.
It's inspired by this highly automated tech landscape described in our sources. We spent this entire time talking about founders using AI to automatically scrape leads, AI to sequence highly personalized messages to strangers, AI tools to discover viral trends, and managing a mercenary army of algorithmic micro-creators to make optimized videos on their behalf.
It is a staggering amount of automation separating the founder from the customer.
It is. So the question is this: at what point in this age of abundance does the founder cease to be a creator and become merely a high-level manager of algorithms? And if the machines are doing all the identifying, all the outreach, all the content creation, and all the socializing for us, does a startup in the late 2020s still have a human soul? Or is a successful modern company now just a perfectly optimized, cold mathematical equation playing out across servers?
Oof. That is a heavy, essential thought to chew on. Are we building businesses to connect with people, or are we just tuning the engines of a massive digital machine? It really makes you wonder who is actually serving who in this ecosystem.
It's the defining tension of the era, and every founder has to decide where they draw the line.
Well, while we figure out if our startups still have souls, we still have to make sure they survive the week. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the Y Combinator brute force playbook. Remember that beautiful gourmet restaurant we talked about at the very beginning? The one hidden deep in the hostile, unmapped jungle. The food is ready, the tables are set. It's time to pick up the machete. Pick one tactic from today, go hack a path through the vines, and force the world to see what you've built.